Well, hey, happy day. It is the 29th of April, 2025. I'm Rudy Maxa. I am a travel journalist and broadcaster. And next to me here is Tommy Danielsen. He's an expert on frequent flyer points and hotel points and all kinds of things involving travel. And we do this periodically. We talk about topics du jour regarding travel. And keep in mind when I say du jour is April 29th.
Yes, it sure is. And it's been a while since we've done this now, over 2 months.
The reason I give the date is the information we're giving is current as far as we know and accurate as far as we know right now. But if you're watching this later on YouTube or other social media, and it's a week later, a month later, a decade later, obviously consider the information in the context of the passage of time. Okay, I gather things have been a little rough over in Portugal and Spain when it comes to travel.
It was in the last 24 hours. It was reported yesterday that there was a massive power outage in both of these countries, which was a little bit unprecedented.
Yeah, I don't think they know what the cause is yet, do they?
Yeah, there is no, as of this morning, there was no information of what has caused such a massive power outage. I mean, they happen from time to time around the world, but I think this one is one of the biggest one. There's speculations about hacking, but as of this morning, it didn't happen. The problem is obviously there's when something like this happens, airport systems are offline and
high-speed trains come to a grinding halt.
They do, and gas pumps stop working, and systems in supermarkets also stop working, so can't check out people, and so obviously there's a lot of traffic coming to a grinding halt and stuff like that. But it seems to solve itself this morning, and everything looks to be back to normal.
Now, countrywide is amazing, and then two countrywides is doubly amazing.
Yeah, there was some areas of Portugal that was still up and running, but it was crazy that it was so much for sure.
Okay.
All right. Looking at you sent me this offer. This is an earning gig for your United credit card. You have a United credit card?
I have a United credit card, and what prompted me sending it to you, Tommy, is so often you apply for a credit card because you see things saying, oh, you're going to get this, you're going to get, that, you're going to get free cable, you're going to get money for Uber, and, a list of all these perks. Then you get the card, and there's rarely any information when you get the card. So you sort of forgot what you got, and then time passes and you forget about it. And every once in a while, you ought to go back, go online, pretend you're going to apply for that credit card, because on that, online, they'll tell you, oh, you got to get this card because here are all the perks. You'll see your perks, and I bet you've forgotten some of them. This one just came up. It's a 3-month-long perk for the April, May, and June. You fly in United, and every dollar you spend at grocery stores, gas stations, and restaurants, up to $1,000, you'll get 5 miles for every dollar instead of the usual 1 mile for every dollar that most people get on United. And by the same token, I got a Discover card, and I found out that Discover, again for the next 3 months, April, May, and June, will give you. It's a cash back card. We'll give you 5% on every dollar you spend at grocery stores for the next 3 months. United, by the way, includes gas stations and restaurants.
Right.
Discovery is only groceries. But still, 5 cents on your groceries, that's 5% off your groceries every time you shop for 3 months isn't bad, particularly if you have a large family and you spend a good amount of money on groceries.
That's very true. That's good. It's worth noting that this is up to $1,000, and it's interesting, fascinating to see how the co-branded credit cards for airlines and also hotels are now starting to do targeted offers from the issuers like Chase, like this. So there has been also with these cards, there's been a significant change to the United cards in the last month. I don't know if you saw that.
No, what's the change? I don't pay much
attention. So this is the card I have. I have the Explorer card, and which now has an 80,000 bonus mile sign-up bonus. The annual fee went from $95 to $150.
Yes, in fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I just paid that this morning. You're right. I do have the Explorer card, and I just had to pay my annual fee, and it was $150. I thought, gosh, that looks high. I don't remember it being 3 figures. So it just went up, huh?
That's right. It did 150. I mean, did you have this card, or do you have a different card?
No, I got the Explorer card. It's $150.
You sure you don't have the Quest card?
No, maybe I do have the Quest card, but it was $150.
The Quest card also changed a little bit. So what they did is they've changed a couple of benefits for the 150. Meaning that you have to use the United Hotel portal to get 5x for the for hotel stays and stuff. It's not a good earning card. You only get earn 2 United miles on United purchases, and which is crazy bad.
Yeah, no,
and the hotel stays are you got to stay at through their portals, right? So it's kind of lame. So the United, like for example, you earn with American Express, you earn 5 miles per dollar spent on any airline you purchase a ticket from. So I wouldn't say that this is a good
if you buy
gig.
through American Express.
No, you can buy American Express Platinum card for the consumer card gives you 5x on any airline purchase with any airline on this planet.
All right, I have the business card. I don't know if that one does. I'll have to
Yeah,
check.
the business card is. I have it because I was going to cancel it, and they gave me such a great retention offer, so I kept it for another year. But
What did they give you? Did they give you membership points?
the United, the American Express Platinum business card it's not a good earning card. It's literally a 1x on pretty much everything.
Did they give you membership points as an incentive, or
For me,
something else?
they gave me the annual fee and 50,000 points.
Whoa! I'm going to call and cancel mine. Well,
Yeah, you should do that. It also varies a lot for that. So I had to spend $15,000 within. I don't remember what the offer. It was last year. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, you did.
But
You did have a
the
spend
annual call
requirement.
is coming up in the fall.
You had a spend requirement. Okay.
So you got, the changes that they literally have made. It's like they've made it like a chore that you have to remember things like this. You see, you get an offer and you're switching your spend over in the next quarter for groceries.
Right.
For me, I have a system in place, and I don't really like to wear off there unless I have a specific amount of miles that I like. I have the American Express Gold Card, which is 4x on restaurants, which is a winner all over the world, and I love that card, and also for groceries and stuff like that. And then also for groceries and for Amazon, the Whole Foods credit card or the Amazon credit card gives 5% cash back on anything or not cash back, usable
Right.
at Amazon and Whole Foods, 5% back, which is a great discount. That's the one I use, and if I don't use my Amex Gold Card, which gives also groceries and stuff. And for gas, I don't have a gas car anymore, and I don't pay for electricity for my car either. It's all free, so that's not a factor for me as an individual. And then I have for plane tickets, it's the American Express Platinum is the winner. Travel in general is the Sapphire Reserve. And I have the hotel programs because we have so many events at various hotels. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at hotels. So I have the deck, or Melinda and I have it split up, so we earn a little bit each. Someday in the near future, I'm going to drop that, and it's important for her. That's going to live 3 times longer than me. That she also has a little bit of a balance, right? But here's the credit. So they give you, when you spend 10 grand on the Explorer card, you get $100 travel credit on United. Then you have another $100 on prepaid hotel stays when you use it through the United portal, which is a pain in the ass to do. And then you get $60 in credits each year on rideshare purchases when you use the United Explorer card, which, obviously using the Sapphire Reserve, even if the benefits are a little bit lower now, using the Sapphire Reserve on Lyft is a winner, and so there's that. So you have to sacrifice something else in order to chase after these offers, right? Which I think is a pain in the
It's a
ass.
full-time job, no question.
Exactly. And so, and then you get Instacart credits for free, and which is Instacart it's just so much. It's a terrible product compared to DoorDash. It's so anyways like that. So at the end of the day, is the thing warranted? I would say you get for me lifetime Star Alliance Gold with United. So for me, it's like I have the lowest card you can have. Can I justify having it? Not really. I think that if I spend 10 grand on it, I'll get the $100 credit, but I kind of don't want to spend 10 grand on a credit card that gives me 1x on anything, 1x on everything except for United purchases, right?
Right. Well,
So, but
point is, if you've got credit cards and you haven't checked lately to see what your perks are,
right,
it
always
behooves you to
check
do that.
your stuff if you have time.
We're not selling you any credit cards. We're just saying.
We are. I'll sell you a credit card. Marriott, Marriott made an announcement early in the last week. Actually, they didn't. They did it yesterday. I'm still a little bit under the weather. That they were acquiring CitizenM, which is more of a what kind of a brand do we want to call? What is CitizenM? What kind of a hotel chain is that?
I don't know. It's sort of hip, but not too hip. It's sort of middle of the road hip.
It says, according to the Points guy, it's the chic, tech-forward property
There you go.
with compact rooms. And the 36 hotel deal was worth $355 million. So another interesting
million.
hotel brand that Marriott gets to ruin when they join Bonvoy. So it was the press release yesterday say that they're joining Bonvoy, and yeah, that's the end of that. Obviously, this is it's a Dutch hotel chain as the size of the room. Obviously,
I was just going to say, it looks like a tiny room, even with a wide-angle lens.
well, you can't even get in. You can't. If the double bed, you got to crawl over to get by the window.
I see.
So nothing to spend more than 30 seconds on for sure. Yes, and then there was a reported yesterday for obviously the current administration and climate makes it a little difficult for a lot of people. And here there is an Iranian student. Gary was reporting yesterday or a couple of days ago on the 27th. She was flying. Whoops, we gotta pay bills for Gary's. It's apparently this lady was. We're going to hop over all the politics because we don't need to talk about that. This Iranian biomedical engineering student was flying Frontier on New Year's Eve. She was connecting in Boston and barely made it to the gate prior to departure. When she arrived, she was told it would cost $100 for her to bring a carry-on on board. She argued, but the gate agent shut the boarding door. She admits trying to open the door to the jet brake and then offered to pay the fee. The flight left without her, and she was reported to the TSA, who issued a warning.
Oh,
On April 10th, she received an email from the University of Connecticut that her F1 status had been terminated. And a TSA warning notice. So meaning that they literally canceled her her student visa because, and also here's the thing though, this is I don't want to get into the politics, there's enough on that here, but the TSA warning that she received at the airport was a warning, and it's a civil penalty for minor infraction, so it has nothing to do with that. But I guess it was enough for for them to kill her student visa.
Well, this makes me think of the news story I heard this morning about what's the small airline that starts with A that's been contracted by Uncle Sam to fly deportees out of the country? And
Don't know, but Avello.
Avello, yeah, and it's getting blowback from the governor of the state. It's somewhere in New England that is headquartered, and people are protesting in front of Avello offices and saying they're not going to fly Avello. And watch that space.
It's a lot of stuff going on now, but I think that
That'll get
at
a
this
lot louder.
point, Gary says it pretty good with all things considered.
What, a good airline, you mean?
I would say that what happened here with Frontier, it's a typical thing with a low-cost carrier. People don't know the rules or they're frustrated.
Right.
But the advice that Gary, and we're going to leave it at that, the advice that Gary, if you're in the U.S. on a visa, if you're Iranian, and if the current administration is still in office, it seems like a very bad idea to take any action that might tend to involve law enforcement, fair or not.
Okay.
The world
reality.
today. Speaking of, it looks like our friend from Canada, they had an election yesterday and decided to stick with the current, not the prime minister resigned and the new guy took over. Who was the guy that took over again?
Oh, the guy won last night?
Yeah, well, I think he was already, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
well, it's the same party. They keep,
Exactly.
the Liberal Party is
The Liberal
still
Party
running.
stayed in power, and I think that it's mostly because of the behavior of what's going on here.
Yeah,
And so it seems like the Canadian car travel to the U.S. plunged 32% as
yeah,
boycott escalated, and it looks like the $6 billion economic loss so far, and also there's a 13.5% decline in air travelers
right.
from Canada. And also bear in mind, last year was like the revenge travel year, so that's a significant drop. There was a lot last year. It's a significant drop. And so the USTA, the U.S. Travel Association, warned in February that even a 10% reduction in Canadian inbound tourism will translate to $2.1 billion in lost spending and 140,000 jobs in jeopardy in the hospitality and related sectors.
Yeah, it's getting serious. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason why we can't talk about this because YouTube has been when we talk about the T word from the guy with the not so white face, our videos get truncated and they don't get censored, but they just don't get showed to our subscribers. You have to manually run and find them. So that's why we're not going to in detail talk about that. That's what the reality of this world is today. All right, so looking forward to ITA Airways, and I actually flew on ITA Airways on their new 350 from Rome to LA here about a month ago.
That's how
Have
they
you ever flown
They don't
them?
say ITA, they say ITA. It's called.
ITA is what they say, but we say ITA. We do.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go. I'd never heard it either. I've never heard it spoken before.
Because remember, it's Italian, so it's not ITA in Italian.
ITA. Yeah, right. It's ITA.
But in reality, it's Alitalia, right? All the carts in there are Alitalia. There's stuff that says Alitalia on them on
Right.
board. And I mean, this was a brand new Airbus 350. Not brand new, but it's fairly new Airbus 350. And we were booked in premium economy from Rome to LA. There was open seats in business class, but I decided not to bid for the upgrade because it was a day flight and we were in the bulkhead, and it was funny when we boarded the flight. First of all, we didn't get the seats that we wanted. We wanted the bulkhead. We wanted the two-seater by the window. Usually it gets full, right? But those seats were inoperable. And they had blocked the entire first row in premium economy was blocked. It was just me and Melinda in the three-seater in the middle, and then the whole rest of the row was blocked because the footrests were broken in all of them. All of the seats where the footrests were broken. So there was a guy who came forward and sat in one of the seats far away from where we were, opposite side. But yeah, it seemed a little messy. Food was good and service was great. I mean, it's, they know how to do that. And the thing was, you're in the vacuum between. They were in SkyTeam, right? They left SkyTeam a couple of months ago, like in February. And so when we traveled, they weren't in an alliance anymore, right? So we earned Lufthansa miles of all things, which is weird. That was the only earning that they have because they are now owned by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is the majority shareholder. Yeah. Now, however, it is said it was reported earlier in this month that they are all the way into Star Alliance and is going to be officially a part of Star Alliance in early 2026. So that's good news.
Okay.
So there's been a power shift in Europe in what we see as the airlines in Europe and alliances. So SAS left Star Alliance, went to SkyTeam. ITA Airways went from SkyTeam to Star Alliance. So
okay. Then there was a little rumble in the jungle. People about coming off a Carnival
rumble in the
cruise
Bronx. Yes.
Yeah.
What was this about?
Nobody knows what it was about, but a bunch of people ganged up on a guy and started beating him up, and 24 people are now on the do not float list, do not sail again with us list. 24.
Do not sail with us again list.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is like Carnival. So yeah, it's like the Spirit Airlines or the Fight Club of cruise ships. Huh?
Right, right.
Is your buddy? Isn't he the head of PR over there?
Where, at Carnival?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's his face? He's a nice guy. I like him.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. I'm blocking on him. I can't think.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Chris. Yeah, brother. Let's name him.
Yeah, he's not my brother, but he's a nice guy.
Chris Chimes.
Chris Chimes. Yes, that's his name. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
So
Yep, yep.
I guess you could get, this was when they were leaving the ship, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but they hadn't gotten out of the off. They're on land right as they were leaving the ship, right on land. Somebody did something bad to somebody else, and it became a row.
Good times.
Yep.
I also see there's something you were reporting from Thailand.
Well, finally, right now the only way you can fly nonstop from North America to Thailand is if you go out of Vancouver. And the reason is because Thai airport has not been had been downgraded by the FAA for security, security and safety reasons. I don't know which or both, but they're back down to top of the heap as a international airport. Mm-hmm. So U.S. carriers can now serve it directly, and United is going to be the first. They're going to be flying into Bangkok Airport and a couple other countries nonstop very soon, which is a couple of other Asian countries, as well as some European.
Where aren't they flying to? I mean, I think there are flights to. I was looking at some flights. I'm going to Asia in November, and I think I could have sworn like most. I mean, Cathay going to Hong Kong, from there to Hong Kong. Yeah. Emirates flies to Bangkok from with a 380. You can take a 380 from. It's a Fifth Freedom flight between Hong Kong and Bangkok.
Yeah, but U.S. airlines aren't allowed to go nonstop.
Yeah, U.S. Airlines.
And
is like,
United, you had to get to Thailand, because I've flown United a couple times to try to get to Thailand. You have to go to Singapore and then choose Singapore Airlines or Thai Airways or something for the short hop into Bangkok.
I don't think that has there ever been, except for Thai Airways, has there ever been a nonstop flight from the U.S. to Thailand?
Long ago, I think you're right. Thai flew.
Thai Airways had the Airbus 340 500, the extra long range one. I flew that a few times when I used to work for Singtel between Newark and Singapore.
No, you got to get off United and fly somebody else. I fly from here. I fly from Minneapolis, St. Paul, where I live, to Korea, to Seoul, Korea on Delta, and then I have to transfer to Korean Airlines.
Yeah, that seems like a good gig, though.
That's a short.
You gotta transfer anyway. There's no way anybody's gonna fly from. Actually, I don't even think they have the range. Who has the range to fly to Thailand? It's like 19 hours, must be at least.
Yeah,
maybe the new 350 has the range for that, or the 787-10.
I'm sure it's going to be a while before they come to Minneapolis, St. Paul, but
there you have it. But good news for those who likes Thailand. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Virgin Atlantic and how there has been an interesting story for this last few weeks, and it was also discussed professionally for loyalty experts that are in the profession. As you know, we own the Loyalty Summit, which is the world's leading conference series on travel loyalty program, and we got one coming up June 4th and 5th in London. And on LinkedIn, which is a professional portal where a lot of these discussions, our friend Nick Laming, who is a pretty smart guy in the travel loyalty space, he was the one who shared this, and I took a look at it. So apparently, Virgin Atlantic has been really heavy-handed when it comes to preventing fraud on their accounts, meaning that what they've done is that a typical behavior. So Virgin Atlantic is it's a small airline. They're in SkyTeam now. Recently, a couple of years ago, joined SkyTeams, owned partially by Delta, but they have they make a lot of money from being very aggressive about selling their miles to other programs like Chase and American Express and Citi. They got partnerships with all of these guys.
Right.
So, or I think all of them, most of them anyways. I think actually all. And so what pretty much happens then, if you have a ton of Amex miles, Amex points, or if you have Ultimate Rewards points from Chase, etc., you can just transfer instantly over to Virgin Atlantic, and then you can redeem points from there. So this is literally what just happened, and it's funny. The reason why I chuckled a little bit is that what has happened is that people are seeing availability on these a lot of these new mileage tools that are out there. Not new; it's like been there forever, but they're getting a little bit more slick now. Not as slick as I would have thought with all the AI happening, but slick enough to show availability. Virgin is available. I'm going to just transfer miles over there, and it's much better value than using your Delta miles or something like that for the same flights. So what pretty much happened is Melinda did this a couple of weeks ago when we had our friends and team were flying over from London back here after the Loyalty Summit. And we thought we'd spend some points on giving people a little bit more comfortable in business class and in premium. So there was a lot of availability. So she didn't have an account with Virgin like I do. So she opened up an account with Virgin and immediately transferred over a crap load of points from American Express, or I don't know who she did, one of the two programs, right? And then she immediately redeemed. Not for her, because she was on a revenue ticket, but she redeemed for John, you know John, our intern, and for Jack, my buddy, my business partner, and for a couple of other people, for David Feldman and for Phil, I think it was. It was like 4 tickets. And this has happened to a lot of people. They legitimately are. That's not against the terms and conditions. You can give families and friends and whoever you want to redeem it. As long as you don't sell it, you're good to go, right?
Right.
So what people have done is that they've done the same thing. They've gotten to the airport without notice, and they have literally had their accounts shut down and saying that your reservation is. Let's see what
Wording they use?
Yeah, so people get to the airport to say that, let me get a verbiage here so I don't say something that's not wrong. They have said people open a Flying Club account and then transfer a sizable number of points from one of the major transferable point currencies. It's a typo. Then their first redemption is booking a ticket for somebody else, either a family member or a close friend, shortly thereafter. The traveler then shows up at the airport only to find that the ticket had been canceled due to a decision by Virgin Atlantic's fraud department with no opportunity to get an explanation or appeal. So you literally are like standing there with your dick in your hand at the airport and told that, sorry, you are not going to be able to travel. And there was also, I saw in this article, people who booked in their own names. They transferred it to their own account and booked tickets for themselves and were refused.
Has Virgin responded to this?
No, nothing public. So nothing public. You can file a DOT complaint or you can call them, but I don't think you're going to get anything. But it's like he says in the headline here, Virgin Atlantic Flying Club fraud department needs to chill, and that's absolutely true because here's the thing: there is fraud. There are people selling miles and points, and there are people who are booking tickets for points and selling those tickets to people online. There are services and brokerage, illegal brokerage going on that.
Have been for decades. Right.
Yeah, and you have to find a good medium because if you are too heavy-handed, then this is a big revenue source. It's a huge source of income for them to sell miles, even at a low cost for Virgin. When they sell miles to Chase or to American Express or to Citi or whoever, they make a ton of money not a ton of money from selling those miles. We don't know how much money they are, but there is money changing hands.
Sure.
And it's like, it's like a mileage ticket, so they don't make any money. That's a completely wrong assessment because what they literally, first of all, they get money for selling the ticket or selling the miles to these credit card or companies or banks, and then they. When somebody go to book these sites, if it is available to book to redeem online, that means that Virgin's revenue department has said there is no. We are so very, and the revenue management of an airline are usually really good at their jobs. They've made a decision saying that, hey, this seat will be open, so we're going to make it open for redemption. We're not going to sell it, so it'll go out empty. So. That goes, and if you redeem it to your own members at Virgin, that's a direct cost because they've earned the miles from you. if somebody transfers in the point, it's, they're not a more valuable customer, but transaction-wise they are, because Virgin charges. I paid, for premium economy for the 2 ticket I redeemed. It was like £350 per ticket for a one-way ticket in fees. And of course, that's not taxes from the UK. The taxes are higher in the UK, but they're like $180, meaning that Virgin's was pocketing $200 for each of those tickets. Right? Business class, it was like 700 pounds for taxes for a one-way. So they're pocketing money, and so this is obviously they are definitely too heavy-handed. So my advice is to check with Virgin first before you go to the airport, and make sure that your ticket is good to go. Do it in advance and double check until they've sorted this out.
And I don't think you should soft pedal how much the banks and credit cards pay the airlines for these points, because in many airlines' cases, if they couldn't sell points to banks and credit card companies, they'd be out of business. They can't make it just being an airline.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's tens of millions of dollars that they spend. These banks spend in credit card. I'm just stunned that.
Absolutely, I completely.
I'm stunned that Virgin wouldn't try to reach out to the person who booked to say, "Hey, if you get to the airport, you're not going to be able to fly. Talk to us."
Yeah, I think that there are so many ways that they could have done this differently. First of all, they could have contacted whoever redeemed, right?
That's what I mean. Right.
Yeah, they could have done that. They could have sent an email. They could have called. They could have sent smoke signals. And also, there are multiple ways to verify these things in advance. There's tons of things you can do. This is like crazy bad. Like, for example, just if 4 people of friends of mine are showing up at the airport and are go to think of little David Feldman at the airport, how pissed off he gets when he's annoyed. I thought that would be fun, but too bad we can't be there with a camera. But anyway, so it's too heavy-handed. Fraud is there. We should fight fraud, but this is too much.
So let me ask you this: if I knew I wanted to fly Virgin a year from now, and I have a bunch of points or miles on other airlines or credit cards that I could transfer to Virgin, should I start transferring them in little chunks now, as opposed to throwing 200,000 points a month before?
This seems to be new accounts that are targeted. So I would you have a Virgin account, right?
I have a Virgin account with a couple hundred.
There you go. So then I think you're going to be fine. There's been a lot of flack about this, so they've definitely heard the message.
All right. What else we got? We only got a couple minutes left here. What else?
We do. Air Canada is shuffling around their leadership, and most notably, the guy Mark Nasser. I'm a huge fan of this guy. He's an old United. He's a little of a cocky son of a bitch. Just my type of feller. Smart guy. He was running Aeroplan. He was the president of Aeroplan, their loyalty program, and was responsible for them buying it back and making it eternal. They spun it off to EMEA, and now a few years ago, they all bought it back. Him and his sidekick, Scott O'Leary, dear friend of mine, love Scott. Mark has been promoted. He is now going to be the EVP and Chief Operating Officer, which I think is a little bit of a waste of his talent. But, I don't know what the Chief Operating Officer will do at Air Canada, but it sounds like a lot of office work. He's a thinker, a smart guy, a strategist. But that's a move. And Craig Landry will be, who is the chief of, they're literally switching positions. So he's going to take the job that
Loyalty program?
The head of the loyalty program. So not marketing and digital, but Chief Innovation Officer and President of Aeroplan is going to be his job. Craig has been with Air Canada his entire professional career, so he's a lifer. He started at a call center back in the day in like the 90s. So I like it when people get that. So just a good there. And last but not least, we talked about the Neom project in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And we're not going to...
in progress?
There has been. Look at that. Concrete is laid for the line now.
Is that a photograph, you think? Or
that is a photograph of the line.
Looks pretty
long.
And
they're now laying concrete for the first, that must be a couple of miles at least that you see down there.
I would think.
So there is definitely a project. Here's the wind farm that's going to power it. It's also up and running. Here's the port, the Octagon, where their cruise ships are going to come in and stuff like that. Yeah. An insane amount of money that they're spending on this thing. Insane. And lastly, also, here is where all the Bengalese guys who are coming into work get to stay. Looks like a prison colony, doesn't it? No, there looks to be like a sports field in the middle, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Looks hot.
It looks hot, and it looks very hot, and it looks not like there's a lot of things around there if you want to head out after work.
No, a walk through the forest ain't happening. No. Right.
Yeah, no kidding. That's all I have for
Okay.
things for today.
All right, that's it. Thursday. Keep in mind, Tuesday, April 29th, 2025 is when Tommy and I are talking. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back periodically, irregularly, with stuff in the news. If you're a travel fanatic, you're in the right place. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you. Good to see you, Rudy. Cheers.
Bye-bye.